Hi Nathan.
Hi, Kylie.
So tell me, how long is too long for a property to be on the market?
One of the most important components when you're marketing your home is the time frame, how long to sell your home. And I believe 30 days is a fair amount of time for a home to sell and maximize the value of a property. Because what happens is, as soon as property goes to the market, nowadays with the technology, that as soon as something goes, you press click. Every single buyer that's out there who's looking at a particular area, they see it in an instant. So the time frame is the most important thing, because the first question buyers ask is, what is the price guide, or what is the home worth, which we talked about last week. And then the second question is, how long it's been on the market. Like, in 15 years me selling real estate, I have never seen a property break records after being on the market for 2 months, 6 months, 3 months, because of the reason that to maximize the value of a home is, number one, is to price it fairly, obviously, present it beautifully and market it well, and then also make sure there's tension created around the house. Now, the tension is created around the house only the first 4 weeks. Because after 4 weeks, the buyers kind of dwindle down, the interest drops, and if a home is not sold within the first 4 weeks, then to create another buyer wave, as I speak to our clients when I'm doing a presentation, is to create another buyer wave, you've got to drop the price or expectation by 5 to 10% to create the second buyer wave. And so it's important to have your property sold within the first 30 days.
Yeah, and I know too that buyers, the way they search for properties these days is not with a brochure or a book in front of them. They go on to Trade Me, etc., and they'll search for the latest listings, and that's the way they search.
Correct.
So they may never get to past the first page when they go back on and search again.
There was a research done that people don't go past the first page. I think 75% of people don't go past the first page. So when you're marketing your home and want to maximize the value of the property, it needs to be sold within the first 30 days. Sometimes people ask me or tell me, like, we've been on the market for 2 months or 6 months with somebody else, but we're not in a hurry. And I say, well, let me put you in perspective with time frame, because what happens is the first 4 weeks, we've got a graph that we show to our clients. So the first 4 weeks, every single buyer looks at the property. And then after fourth week, the interest goes almost zero now. So if you haven't got it sold within the first 30 days, buyers say, well, what's wrong with the house? Is the price too high? Is there something wrong with the house? Nobody else wants it. So if nobody else wants it, I don't want it either. But if they do want to make an offer on it, they like the house, the negotiation, I say it, the ball is in the buyer's court, so they can make whatever offer they want to make on it. To maximize the value of a home, you've got to create tension around the house, which we talk about, the components that would create tension around the house. Obviously, the first 30 days, pricing it fairly, marketing it beautifully, and presenting it well.
So I guess that kind of leads into that second question, and I know you've already touched on it. If my property hasn't sold, why hasn't it sold? Why is my property still sitting on the market after 30 days?
Yeah. That is a great question, why my home hasn't been sold. The reality is, I always talk about this, is when you hire a professional that knows what they're doing, they're giving you the right advice, your home should sell within 30 days. Now, if it hasn't sold within the first 30 days, obviously you haven't been given the right advice, or you haven't hired the right person. Because if you were given the right advice, or giving you a fair market value of your property, and had the property presented, would your agent should guide you on how to present the property. Because I tell people, like, you sell a house every 7 years, an average Kiwi would sell a home every 7 years. So if you only sell once in 7 years, then your professional real estate agent, which we sell houses every day, should be able to give you advice on how to present a home, how to market it, and how to price it. And if you do those things, then your home should sell within the first 30 days. Now, coming back to answering your question, why hasn't been sold? I tell people that it's because your agent wasn't the right person. And it's every single time that is the issue, that a home is not sold, because, as I said, your agent should be able to give you the right advice to be able to help you maximize the value of your property within a time frame. While we know we talk about 30 days.
So would you recommend then, on that basis, that if a property hasn't sold, then it's absolutely worthwhile maybe, looking at it, choosing a different agent to remarket your property?
Yeah, that's a brilliant question as well, because people ask me, like, we've been on the market with this agent for 30 days, 40 days, 2 months or 3 months. What do we do now? And a lot of people make a mistake of going from this agent to the next agent. And what I tell people before they do, what I suggest is, make sure when you're trying to change agents, is make sure, obviously, you got to interview the right agent. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Make sure you got the right person marketing your property this time around, and also give it a rest. A home must come off the market, then the next approach should be totally different than the first one, because I say a definition of insanity is doing the same thing, trying to achieve a different result. So taking off the market, if your home has not been sold within the period of time, 30 days, if it's been on the market for longer than that, or way longer than that, because as I said, I've talked to people in the past that it's probably been on the market for 4 or 6 months, and they say we're not in a hurry. And if it hasn't been sold, take the property off the market, give it a rest, do a different approach, and make sure you've got the right person that give you the right advice.
So how do I know when to take my property off the market if it hasn't sold? Because obviously 30 days is a guide, but that's not always the exact definitive number. When
you've got your property on the market and you get no inspections and no inquiries, I suggest that your property is either priced too high, or it's not presented as well as it can be, or it's not promoted well. So if you get no inquiries and no viewings and no offers, then that's the time to take your property off the market. If you get inspections but you don't get no offers, your property is possibly priced slightly over the market value, maybe 5% or slightly above that. When you get inspections and you get offers, most cases that happens in the first 30 days, then you're right on the button. You've done the right thing, you've priced it well, you've got the right agent, you've got the 3 components as we talk about: pricing and fairly, marketing well, and presented beautifully. All those are in line